Friends, 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city.
Is there anything that Lionel Messi is better than you at?
It's opinions. I respect your opinions. Maybe in your opinion Messi is better than me, but in my mind I'm better than him.
I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso. Just on me, everything is on me, no matter what. Told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just hit the money and go stack up. Only buy car cards and get tatted up. That other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. No fault, I done doubled up on the workload. I think I fell in love with the bankroll. Pray up, get money, then we lay low. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up,
Hey guys, I'm Si, and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of Rhodri Giggs on football. This is episode number 5. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Ace Podcast Nation, of course, you're home to many great shows, top guests, expert analysts, and more. So please do give us a follow social media. Click the bell for notifications on YouTube. Subscribe, really helps us out. And of course, like the video, spread the word. And if you prefer your podcasts in audio form, then as you can see just above Rhodri's head, we are now available as part of the Sports Social Podcast Network. And one of our podcasts, the Danny Batten Fight Show, was their podcast of the week this week. So check that out as we talk the aftermath of Joshua and Usyk, among other things. It was a monumental weekend of fights. But just as we wait for a few of the latecomers and the stragglers to join us, quick update on the Super Six. For those of you who don't know, where as an Ace Podcast Nation, we're supporting a charity Super Six League this season, helping to raise money for two great charities, which is Maggie's Centre and the Mind Mental Health Charity. It was close at the top this week with 3 people on 16 points, but Davy Jones' favourite son, Mr. Andy Campbell, took number 1 spot, only just beating Mike and Krista because of his golden goal prediction. And on the other hand, a certain Mr. Rhodri Giggs gets his first yellow card of the season as he missed his midweek predictions. But I am bored of saying this now. But Mr. Price, still top for the season. But well done to Darren Crisp, who made it into the money places. He's in the money at the moment. But the next round is Saturday, kick-off 3 o'clock. So get your predictions in. Over 90 players playing now, including many ex-footballers, including myself and many others. There's a prize pot of over £500, over £800 raised for charity. Get involved. If you would like to join, it's not too late. Contact Will Melius, most probably in the chat. But there's links and stuff for the Facebook group and whatnot in the description, all for a good cause. But let's hear the excuses. We are delighted to welcome my co-host back for another week of football. It is Ex Salford City winger and manager, Mr. Rhodri Giggs. How are you, mate? No predictions this Tuesday?
Yeah, no, you know what? I looked Wednesday and I thought, you know what? I bet it was yesterday. So I just done them for this weekend. So yeah, I missed it.
Yeah, I've been getting mine in like early because I know I'll forget if I leave it. And not that it makes any difference because I think I'm averaging about 4 points a week at the moment. After the first week, I think I had like 12 or something. And then after that, it's just been down.
Yeah, well, the first one was 12 and obviously I've missed one. So we'll see how we go on the weekend.
Yes, indeed. Well, in fairness, mate, I think this Champions League one was probably a good one to miss because he was all over the shop, wasn't it? Like Barcelona.
Who's going to have Real Madrid at home getting beat off? Shit.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's start with that, mate, because there's so much to talk about this week. And I know, like, our Cardiff contingent want to talk about McCarthy. And I want to hear your opinion on United, but I want to talk first and foremost.
See what I did there? This little segue, because I knew you wanted to talk to Real Madrid.
Professional, mate. Professional, see? That's what you got to do. Just got to segue into all these different things. That's how it's done, see? Ronald Koeman, mate, according to Guillaume Balaguer, Sky Sports Spanish journalist, says it's only a matter of time before Ronald Koeman is sacked again. I think Madrid and Barcelona don't put up with those sorts of performances for very long, especially when you look at how many goals they've conceded in their first 2 Champions League games. I do tend to agree that Koeman's probably going to be gone sooner than later, isn't he?
Yes, but that's not going to stop the problems that these 2 clubs have got. So you're just going to see a revolving door at these places with the manager. Carlo Ancelotti is a steady hand, so you'd expect him to last a little bit longer. But yeah, Koeman's on thin ice, and it's just a matter of time. And if these results keep on happening, what did they get beat?
3-0 against Benfica.
3-0, yeah,
and that was on, didn't they lose 3 or 4 against Bayern Munich the first game as well? So.
Yeah, it's not good. Just getting beat, one of close games, but they're getting well beat. So yeah, it's not good. The White Yankees will be out.
Oh yes. So I was just reading up on FC Sheriff from Tunisia, which is Tunisia, I think it is. It's in it's like on the border of like Ukraine and Moldova, and it's a very complex situation actually. The where they're from and stuff. But look, first I think I'm right in saying it's their first stint in the group stages, and
they've even got a sheriff badge.
Well, you would though, wouldn't you? If you were called FC Sheriff, you're having a sheriff badge there, and I'd be looking at the merch ideas you could come up with would be sensational for a FC Sheriff. But they're 100% record, mate, in the Champions League. So what can you do?
They're doing well. No one would have bet on them.
Jesus Christ, no.
No one would have bet on them. With being top of the group, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, even Shakhtar Donetsk, no mugs, no scrubs either. So yeah, they're doing really well. They don't need another win in the draw, and they're probably through.
Yeah, and then they beat Madrid, they beat Shakhtar. So really, I think if they somehow could get another win, there's probably a very good chance that they will go through, isn't it? 9 points. You got at the very least they could go through like a second team, even if the likes of say Madrid and Shakhtar.
Well, you've got to think about it, size. You've got to think about it as well. Si. This is not Real Madrid of old, where they could go and steamroll the teams now, win all these games. They're not that quality there. So you'd bet on them getting through. Top in the group, that might be a stretch, but certainly going through. Inter Milan have got 1 point. Real Madrid have got 3. Shakhtar Donetsk have got 1. So these teams might even take points of each other as well to even help them out. So yeah, it's a good start for them. And so people are going to take they can't take these teams lightly now. They've obviously got there by merit, and they beat a Real Madrid side and a Shakhtar Donetsk side. So yeah, it's looking good for him.
Well, I heard Solskjaer say after the win yesterday that he was quite happy with 3 points from 2 is better than 2 draws. And at the end of the day, Sheriff have got 6 points. And like you mentioned, they got an incredible... it's like when you saw that group, everybody assumed that they were going to be the whipping boys. Like you've got 3 seasoned Champions League teams in Madrid, Inter Milan and Shakhtar. And yet there they sit with a goal difference of +3, 6 points. Well, I don't even know. It's difficult to even get into and describe, isn't it? Because it's such a shock, but they're comfortably there. And you'd think if they've got the quality to do it once, but not once, but twice, they're probably going to get at least another couple of points, couple of draws somewhere before the end of the group. And even 2 draws would take them to 8 points, which is probably a good chance of finishing second when, like you say, those other teams are going to take points off each other.
Yeah, 100%. You know, they've played Real Madrid at Real Madrid, so you think they'd turn them over at their place, so at least get a result. And yeah, it's a good start for them. And like you said, they were definitely going to, people would have thought they would have been the whipping boys, but you know, who would have thought young boys would have beat Man United? So it could be one of them Champions Leagues where there's a surprise out there. But you know, the English teams look strong, and Bayern Munich look very strong.
Oh yes, but another beautiful segue there, my friends. United, they went from, it could have been disastrous these first 2 games because obviously they lost the young boys. And I tell you what, mate, if Alsaka up front for Villarreal was not so devoid of confidence, United could have been out of it by half time. But that's why you got a world-class goalkeeper. That's why he's holding out Henderson at the moment. And then that's why you've got the likes of Ronaldo and the others that they brought off the bench. Shout out to Jesse Lingard just before we hear your view. The man's had a tumultuous couple of weeks, well, 4 weeks now, but like every time I see him come on for United, he makes a difference. And people can slate him and say he's not good enough or he shouldn't be in the squad or there's better players. The fact is, Sancho is getting better, but he's still not quite up to speed. Ronaldo is the age he's at. He's still going to score goals if you put it in the box. They're still probably lacking something in the middle of the park. But every time Jesse Lingard comes on, he makes an impact. And with him and Cavani yesterday, for me, they changed the game because they pressed high up and they put Villarreal under pressure at the back, and it made them lose the ball continuously in the last 15 minutes. And I did feel like it was a matter of time. But on the same hand, Villarreal also looked like they might score every time they went forward. So it was like a bit strange. I really like Paco Alsasa. I think he's a quality striker, but that's his first goal of the season. He's been struggling. Him of 18 months ago would have probably bagged 2 or 3 in that game. But you know, you're a United fan. You tell me what you thought of it. Sorry, mate. Last thing. The left winger. I've forgotten his name. I'll get to it. The Villarreal left winger looks absolute quality. He used to play for Bournemouth, didn't he? Looks real player. He does. But yeah, what did you think of it, mate?
Well, first half was really, really poor, but you know, by all accounts, they were nervous and they played like that. You know, Villarreal should have been 2, at least 3-0 up in the first half. David De Gea played well. You know, come back to his old self and pulled them out the mire again. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but you know, he's made the changes and even Fred come on and his left back and pushing on and making the cross. But yeah, I was screaming for Ronaldo to be substituted. You know, what do I know? So yeah, you know, when you think about it and you dissect it, you just think, yeah, you've got to keep him on because he gets that one chance and he will put it away. And not everyone's like that. Cavani had an header which really he should have put away. So, but he'll get one chance and he'll put it away. And yeah, it was a good win because it was a lucky win as well. And people have short memories, mate. You know, I've watched loads of games on the Fergie where they've been battered and they've ended up winning. No, that was a Champions League final against Bayern Munich. They should have been beat 4-0 and they ended up winning 2-1. So, you know, it happens, but you know, it's the midfield. It's just the midfield. You have to be able to keep the ball in Europe, and you know, it wasn't a good first half, but you know, they sorted out in the second half and made the right changes. I agree with you. Cavani and Lingard brought that extra energy, just pushed up a little bit more, give that extra 5, 10, 15% to the extra player, the other players that were still on there, and yeah, they got the result in the end. But it was a lucky one. But you know, sometimes you got to ride your luck, you got to take risks, which they did, and they got away with it. They could have easily broke away and scored. but they took risks and they went for the goal. They put goal scorers on, and they got it in the end.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Couple of quick questions for you then about United. Did Diogo Dalot have a terrible game, or was Danjuma just on fire? And Alex Telles, I thought before his goal, was probably one of the ones they might take off, because I didn't think he was playing particularly well. And it's interesting, again, nearly take him off, in my opinion. And then he scores one of those, superb goal. Let's be honest. Technically, that's a proper Brazilian-made, Portuguese, whatever you want to say, goal. But particularly, I thought when you think how strong United have looked at the fullbacks with Wan-Bissaka and Shaw, they didn't look as secure with those two at the back. And, well, I'll get your opinion on that first, then I'll ask you something about the midfield.
Well, there's a number of reasons. Usually they've got two centre midfielders holding. They only had one. And then they've got two fullbacks who are not really game fit and not up to the quality of Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. Let's have it right. They're just not. Distribution, possibly, but defending, they're nowhere near. So he's under pressure. Dalot didn't have a great game. He showed him on the outside where the kid just went past him like he wasn't even there. What you're giving him, what you're getting too tight for, what you're showing him that way for. It's just it wasn't good for someone at that level to be defending like that. It wasn't
schoolboy, that is, mate, isn't it? You takes that like under 12s, didn't you?
Yeah, he obviously sharpened up second half and got a little bit better, but the first half the kid gave him a torrid run. He was running him ragged. So do you people saying, well, he needs help. He needs help. This is Manchester United. You need to have to be able to defend 1-on-1. It's always been the case. So yes, they do help, but you shouldn't need it all the time. You're a defender, do your job. And he had a bad 45 minutes. Second half he got better, but it was not a good run. You say a 5 or 6. I give him.
So when I saw the team sheet in the midfield and I saw that Pogba being moved back, my first thought was, they're going for it. And then I saw that McTominay was next to them, and I thought, that'd be interesting. Well, if those two could play well together, that could be quite a decent combination on paper. But the reason why I personally don't think Scott McTominay will ever be a quality holding midfielder is because I think he's too attacking, if that makes sense, and he gets a little bit pushed too far forward and he leaves a gap. Now, if I'm picking them as a 2, I'm looking for McTominay to completely hold his position and for Pogba to have a bit of a wander and spray it around. But then when we don't have the ball, Pogba sits back, between as a 2. But because McTominay was going forward and Pogba was having a wander, every time Villarreal came forward or they turned over the ball in the first half, it was just gaps galore. And I think that's a problem for United, that they haven't got someone who can just sit and let everybody else do their thing. Like Fred goes wandering, Matic hasn't got the legs, McTominay gets a bit pulled around. Pogba's never going to be able to just sit as a holding midfielder. It's not his game. But I don't know. I'm interested in your take on it and what.
Nothing's changed, mate. Nothing's changed. We need a centre midfielder. We need someone who wants the ball constantly. That glue that a team needs. We haven't got that. So I was looking last night, and Matic was on the ball, and there was literally like 7 attackers just lined up in a row. There's no one. You have to have someone who can only get on them ball in them situations, but make that pass and they just haven't got that person at the minute. Yes, they've got 3 holding midfielders. Fred, McTominay isn't a holding midfielder. Like you say, he's a box-to-box midfielder. So, and Pogba's not disciplined, and Fred is just not good enough. It's just simple. Matic, like you say, he's got no legs. So it's an issue. That's the only problem what Man United have got. It's a major issue because it's in the middle of the park where
problems.
You need to keep the ball, even though they had 65% or 60%. It's not really, percentage football. That percentage football is probably playing around the back and in the last third playing football because they just haven't got the players.
Cracking question from Will here, which I'm going to get to in just a sec. Before I ask that question, I just want to ask one more question on United. Why do United look so static until Cavani and Lingard come on? Until, like you just said, there was at points there was like 7 attackers just stood in a line. But all of a sudden, when Lingard and Cavani come on, they were pressing high. There was movement everywhere. They were just all pouring forward. Why can't they do that without those two players in there?
Well, the pressing high is they were making mistakes, so then they were winning the ball high. You're not going to be able to do that with Ronaldo, even though he wasn't the one pressing it. So you're not really going to be able to do that with Ronaldo. So he's not going to do that. He's just not.
Could you play Cavani and Ronaldo as a 2?
Yes, you can. Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, because Cavani's clever enough and cute enough to do the dirty work for Ronaldo.
Yeah, I think that should be an option that they look at. Will Melius says
you have to be careful who you play against.
Yeah.
Something you couldn't do that against Manchester City, could you?
No, of course not.
Yeah, you just couldn't. But certain teams would be able to do it, and like they'd be able to do last night, they could stick in Cavani up front or on the left or Ronaldo on the left and on the right. If they're really going for it, you just Ollie says you need as many goals in the side as you can at that moment. And yeah, no, like Will saying there, we would if we had a Roy Keane or Paul Ince, I would say would be easily title contenders. So
Will's question there is Roy Keane and Paul Ince were able to both sit and attack. Why are current footballers? Why is it always holding midfielder or attacking midfielder? Why isn't there genuine box to box midfielders?
Yeah, I
anymore?
don't know. It's in the coaching, the academies. I think that goes back to where people have got number 6, or it's all numbers now. Number 6 or number 10. It's not box to box midfield like it used to be. It's all changed. There was 4-4-2. Now you've got 2 older midfielders or 1 older. It's all changed, and then you don't get that quality of player coming out. Now, when the last time you see a Brian Robson or Paul Ince or Roy Keane, even a Steven Gerrard, that you don't see.
He changed his game though, didn't he? In the latter half of his career.
Yeah, but he changed his game because of his age. He was when he come on the scene. He was for 10 years. He was a box-to-box midfielder, explosive, could do it all, could play it all. Because he's a good footballer. He could play right back, centre half. He could play anywhere. Good players can play anywhere, and he was one of them. But all these players now, that if you play them in a different position, should be at footballers should be able to play in any position.
Spot on, mate. 100% agree. You mentioned Man City there. Leslie said earlier, he said Man City seem to be favourites for everything. Does Rhodri think Man City will win the Champions League? Personally, I think they'll crumble yet again. The great pretenders.
Yeah, Champions League, no. You can't go... yes, you can get away with it in the Premier League, but you can't get away with it in Europe not having a really major striker. And that's the Achilles heel. Premiership, I think, if Liverpool keep the players fit, they might give them a good run for the money, but City just too good. They just absolutely destroyed everyone's favourites for the league. Just destroyed them at home. Absolutely dismantled them, come away with a 1-0 win. And it should have been more. So if you think that City aren't going to, win this league, then come on.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? That they're a team who've got that much money and a manager who's not, he's not scared to spend that money, but is also supposedly one of the best managers. Not supposedly, he is one of the best managers in the world. But they're going into these major tournaments with no main striker. Like, that is incredible, really. I know that, things didn't come off with Ronaldo and Messi and Kane, but they should have signed someone knowing that it was a problem position for him.
Well, you say that side, but, they've got a level of quality that they want. They don't want to dip below that quality because they've just wasted money. They've probably made mistakes before. Mendy, rubbish. There's lots I could name about 10 that are like 40, 50 million. So do they want to bring a striker in, for who's not really going to play? They want that elite player now. So yeah, they've held out for him, and kudos to them really, because they're still gonna win it. But imagine if they did get Harry Kane as well.
So yeah, a few people have just said that we've gone off. I'm just going to double check that now because we're fine for us. So I just want to check and see what's happening. Seems to be all right on YouTube. That's fine. Right, that's fine. We are going to talk about Cardiff in a minute, but I'll wait for the question. There's a load of questions on it already, so I'm going to make people wait for that and wait, get them more angry. So, who stood out for you this week, mate? In the Champions League, Premier League, players, clubs?
Bayern Munich, even though they're at home, and Dynamo Kiev 5-0, looking really strong. So, yeah, Bayern Munich for me. Liverpool as well look really strong.
Yes.
Juventus, usual suspects.
Yeah, I was surprised Juventus turned over Chelsea, I got to be honest, because Chelsea have been one of the teams which have really impressed me all season long. So I was a bit surprised by that.
It's a different kettle of fish, this Champions League, mate. It's a different kettle of fish. There's 100% quality. Even Juventus, even though they got rid of Ronaldo, they've still got quality players.
Leslie wants to talk about Middlesbrough, so we'll talk about Middlesbrough a little bit. They had a good, impressive victory over Sheffield United. I think that was a very much needed victory. They've been struggling a little bit, and I was surprised by that. But it's interesting, isn't it? They're relying on the same players like Watmore and Paddy McNair, who they've been kind of relying on over the last couple of seasons, and the players that they've brought in haven't really done it or aren't doing it at the moment, which is a big problem. But I think they'll come good. They've got a solid lot of experience with Bamba and Peltier in defence, and McNair now playing that holding midfield role. I do think they'll come good. Warnock's a good manager, but they're having a rocky road. Hopefully that victory will be the kickstart for them, Leslie. Hopefully. Have you seen much of Middlesbrough, mate?
Middlesbrough, no. That's not. Middlesbrough is not on high on the list of it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I like Neil Warnock. He's always done a good job.
I wish he was still Cardiff manager. Right, so here's a question for you then, mate. I don't think me and you have discussed this, so I'll kick off like that discussion a little bit, and managers generally, I guess. So Cardiff sacked Neil Warnock, who'd had a very successful period at Cardiff. It was going a bit stale, but they sacked him. At the point, I know for 100% fact that they were on the brink of bringing in Lee Bowyer on the back of his work with Charlton, the football he was playing, a young manager. I know that was nearly over the line. And then all of a sudden, they signed or they appointed Neil Harris as the manager, who plays exactly the same style of football as Warnock. Is used to working on a shoestring budget, and had been sacked by Millwall because even Millwall had got fed up of the style of play. So they then replaced Harris after it all went pear-shaped because the football's turgid. So when the football's terrible, if you're not successful on the pitch, the fans will turn, because the fact is the fans will accept this kind of play the percentages, boring, horrible to watch football. If you're winning football matches, you're grinding it out, and you then get promoted or you get to the playoffs and whatnot. If that doesn't happen, I think people turn quicker because the football's terrible to watch. So it means people are not enjoying going to watch their football club. Harris got to the playoffs. People put up with it. Then it went off a cliff very quickly and he got sacked. I think the only reason he lasted probably a month longer than he did is that it was in COVID times when there was lockdown, there was no fans there. Then they've appointed Mick McCarthy, who's did a phenomenal job on a short-term contract to make sure they didn't go towards the relegation zone, because that's where they were heading under Harris. But then inexplicably, before the season's finished, they gave him a long-term contract. And I said at the time, that is the worst thing that they could have done, because they're just putting themselves in a terrible position.
How long?
2 years, 3 years? 3 years, I think it was, when he was only initially appointed till the summer, just gone. So my understanding and the way I had sort of been looking at it and I'd been told was that they had him into the summer to make sure they did not get relegated, because it was a very real possibility under Harris, the way they were going. So they brought him in to make sure they didn't go down. And then in the summer, they would look at it from both sides. And then after he was unbeaten in 8 games or whatever, 7 games or whatever it was. There was a story in one of the tabloids saying that Celtic were interested in McCarthy. People like myself all called bullshit. No way Celtic were going to appoint him. But because of his links to Ireland, I think, it's only my opinion, the club panicked and then gave him a long-term contract, which I don't know if that was the plan initially. And now they're right up shit creek, because the fans are back now. And the fans have had 3 different managers, of watching terrible football. It was all right under Warnock for a period because he was successful. He was winning football games. Harris, the fans weren't really there. And I wouldn't even describe it as long ball football. It is because there's a way of playing long ball football and it being effective. It's just drab nothingness, which is, we're supposed to be a defensive team, yet we've conceded 9 goals in 2 games. I think he was the wrong man. I said this. I had a rant at the start of when he was appointed. I wasn't happy. And unfortunately, I believe I'm being proved right, because I don't believe in 2021, nearly 2022, that Mick McCarthy is a championship manager. In my opinion, if you want to be a successful, or should I say, he's not a championship manager for a club who's got aspirations of playing Premier League football. Because as Andy Campbell used to say many a time, the championship is like Premier League 2 now. You look at the clubs in it, they're all ex-Premier League clubs. They all the successful clubs play good football. The clubs at the top are not the ones who play the percentages and all that sort of shit. Sorry, mate. I realised I just literally talked for 5 minutes. I've had a lot of messages about it, and I was so pissed off when they appointed Mick McCarthy, partly because I was genuinely excited with what Lee Bowyer might do, because I've been really impressed with what he did at Charlton and also at Birmingham. I think he's doing a relatively good job. But what do you think, mate? You've probably got a bit more patience for it than me.
Well, yeah, it's difficult really, because he's come in and he's done okay. Did he come in and do okay, and then obviously got the job on the back end of that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, his first 7, I think it was, or 7 or 8 games. I think they were unbeaten. And of course, you have the new manager effect. The players are all trying to impress. In my opinion, the last 2 games looks like, when a manager's lost the dressing room, and it becomes clear that that's kind of the situation. That's what it looks like to me, because the side he picked on Tuesday was mind-boggling, to say the least. And like I said, we're a defensive team who can't defend, so that's a problem in itself.
Well,
how do you feel about these type of managers, mate?
The first problem you got is lack of numbers. You haven't got a massive squad. The championship's relentless. Second of all, you brought a manager in, on the back end of Cyprus that didn't do very well.
No.
So, there's alarm bells straight away. Have they come in with someone experienced, he's done well, and then they've given him 3 years, and then he's ripped up the manual, right, I'm going to do it my way, and it's gone downhill. I don't know, maybe that's it, but, these managers now, they're dead. No, they're just, there's younger and better coaches out there. They've gone for experience, thought it was going for a steady hand, but Mick McCarthy's been a good manager, but the game does move on, and results. He knows it's a result business, and if the results don't change, then there's only one option or one outcome. So, but he'll probably say he's got his hands tied behind his back because he's got not got any players, he's not got the quality of players, can't bring any players in because they've got no money. So you can all that crap, but you just got to do better on the coaching side of it. It's difficult, but it's not good.
No, and in my opinion, this type of manager now, I don't want to see anyone lose their job, mate. But he's a dinosaur in an age where the top coaches.
He's all right when these football managers lose the job because they get £1 million to walk away with it. So it's not.
Well, he got a long-term deal, didn't he? Yeah, he's not going to be short of cash, is he?
He had a few P45 brown envelopes. He's going out the door. Don't feel sorry for them. They're all right, these managers.
Yeah.
It's not as if they're going and signing on the next day.
Yeah, you're right there.
Even though you don't want to see him get sacked, but it's a result business. Yeah. You have to start winning.
And he's Sean Morrison. Donna's just said there's comment which threw me a bit because I was thinking about something else, but I agree completely. And she says Sean Morrison didn't look interested on Tuesday. Now, Sean Morrison, correct me if I'm wrong, at some point. And people in the chat, I don't know if is he still the club captain? And if he's not, he's certainly a senior player. Sean Morrison, if your captain or one of your senior players doesn't look interested, that points to a problem within the squad that they're not happy about something. To me,
it does, but it's. You play for the fans and stuff like that. So if his character's like that, then that's a worry. Because even if you don't I've not liked managers that I played for. I still would give them 100% because there's fans coming to pay good money to watch you just toss it off. That's not my mentality. So that'll be a worry if he's an experienced player and he's gone that route. Because these players have got too much power these days. They can dictate who comes in and comes out. Is that a good thing? Not really. You've got to trust the manager and try and go with it. Yes, you might not agree with something that he says, but you're professional and you be professional. You don't toss it off because, like I said, there's thousands of people and paid their hard-earned money to come watch you toss it off and walk about you're not interested. Come on.
100%, mate. Players should be given 100%, even if they think the tactics are so wrong, the team selection is wrong, they think everything about the situation is wrong. Whoever that is picked has got to go on that pitch and give 100% and show desire for the fans, for the club who pays their wages, pays them a lot of money.
That's standard.
Just basic, isn't it? I just wanted to just quickly address these comments from Reese. So Reese says, Si, I asked Mehmet Dalman, Cardiff City chairman, on here because he's been on the channel twice now. Exclusives for us, by the way. He doesn't speak to anyone else. And Reese asked him, why are we hiring these managers who are kind of like playing dinosaur football? Why can't we hire someone who plays decent stuff? And his response was, we've tried young managers in Trollope and Harris, and they failed. Now, to me, when I think about that now, that's kind of dodging the question because Harris and Trollope might be younger in terms of age to the other manager like McCarthy, Warnock, etc. But they said they play exactly the same style of football. So if you get
that's none. How many experienced managers have they brought in who've been crap? So I think that outweighs the two novices so it's just rubbish. They're just obviously it just didn't work out. It doesn't mean there are good coaches out there. You just gotta do your research, do your homework. Like you say, Lee Bowyer has done really, really well at Charlton. Looks like he's doing really well at Birmingham. There are them type of managers out there, coaches out there. But to just go with a steady hand, or you think that.
I think it's gutless. I do to just continually go for that perceived safe option. But to me, it's not.
There's a trend of that because Neil Warnock and they've probably gone, we'll go for the ERS, and that's not worked out. So they've gone back.
I think they've gone Warnock, Harris, and McCarthy, because they're looking at it if like those managers can all play with the same basic group of players because they all kind of play the same style, so they haven't got to spend a load of money. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I do think it comes down to that.
But when you're a manager and you take over, you want your own players in. It doesn't matter if you still want your own group in.
Yeah, it is tricky. Like, a friend of mine thinks that when they decided Warnock was going to go, he thinks that they should have appointed Craig Bellamy with Warnock and moved Warnock to like director of football or something, or assistant, or just something like an experienced head to be with him. And like, I'm a bit on the fence about that. But now I almost think someone like Bellamy, who's going to go in there, expect high standards in training, high standards on the pitch, will not put up with players like, oh, I don't like this, that, and the other, so I'm not going to give 100%. He might not be the most experienced manager. He might not.
Well, that if that was to happen, you'd expect to go down before you go up.
Yeah,
because what
it's building for the future,
is getting all of the bad eggs out that don't want to be doing what he's asking to do, and get his own players in, and that's going to take time, a lot of time. Yeah. You only need one bad egg in the team, just one, and that can nose it all up. So if you've got 4 or 5 of them, you need to get 4 or 5 out, and they're on big contracts. It's difficult. It's so difficult. It's why the players have so much, and the managers get lambasted when they say, "Oh, why is he playing? Why is he training on his own?" Or what? Well, because he's holding the club ransom. We want him out of the club, and he's not going anywhere. He's just happy to sit on his contract. So you can see why they do that. But at the end of the day, they did sign a contract. If they don't want him, they get rid of him. So it's a difficult one.
Yeah. Donna says,
but I do agree with the type of mentality and person. It's probably I am as well with like.
Tell you another one.
But would he be too much over the top? You'd have to have an experienced person with him just to have the reins and chill out a bit and just.
Well, in fairness,
because these modern day players, they don't like criticism. They take the ball.
No. Well, funny enough, I said Bellamy. I didn't necessarily. I was obviously used my mate's example, but when Warnock left. But what I meant by Bellamy was someone who will demand basic 100% desire to play for the football club, to play for the fans in training and on the pitch.
For the badge, that's standard.
Basic, isn't it?
Should do that anyway. So they shouldn't have to tell them to, to work hard and run about. That's the job. So.
But like GD Parry points out, Bellamy left his club in Belgium, I think, recently due to some mental health issues. So I don't even know if he'd be up for it. But it's someone who did spring to mind. I was listening to Roy Keane on Gary Neville's Sky Sports podcast the other day. Roy Keane wants to get back into management. Could Roy Keane...
He's at that time of his career where he wants a good project, though. Cardiff's not a good project for him. They haven't got any money. They haven't got any players. It's miles away from where he lives.
Yeah.
I think he's
got the right mentality, but it's like, I see what you mean. The logistics of it probably don't work, do they?
No, and like I say, he wants to be listening to him when he's punditry. He seems to be, there's a good project. Cardiff, have they got the money to attract him and to say, right, okay, here's the package that we've got and the players that you can bring in, or this is the money. Have they got that to do that? If they have, then it'd be great. But have they got that?
Is that right? Matthew Angel says there, you cannot coach desire.
Like I say, why is he at the club if he's no desire? Why have you even got, if he doesn't run about, he's a footballer. That's your job. That's your job. You do it every day in training to prepare for match days, and they've all got these monitors on now, so you can analyze it after the game anyway, and pull him in and say what's going on. Well, 3 weeks ago, this is what we was getting at here, and now look this. So, and they could be held accountable. You could do that single in a 1-to-1, or if you want to embarrass them, do it in a group setting where you say, we're all working hard except this character here who's dropped his levels. So. There's ways around it. You can't, but no, desire and
it's basic, isn't it? It's basic thing that you should have as a footballer. But like I guess my point is I think that Cardiff need someone to go in there and whip the players into shape, tell them what's not acceptable, blah, blah, blah. But I think they also, I agree with you, I think Cardiff needs a manager like that to come in, a young manager, youngish, to come in, change the mentality of the playing squad, the club, from top to bottom. And if that means going down to League One to then go back up, but with a bit more momentum and stability on the pitch. But that won't happen because if Cardiff go down financially, it's a disaster for them. They're already struggling financially. They cannot go down.
Yeah,
which I think is probably why they're...
Because League One's a tough league to get out of. There's some big clubs in there as well.
There's a shout from a few people. I didn't even think about that when I said it, but Roy Keane replacing Mick McCarthy would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? Do you reckon they'd have like a nice handover, a big hug to hand over the job?
I'm sure they would. See you later, Mick, out the door.
Yeah. I almost want him to appoint Roy Keane just for that. But Garen Cole says, what about this? Chris Wilder for the Cardiff job.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good shout?
Would he want that job though?
No, I think on paper, I think it's a good club.
Coming manager like a Lee Bowie that's going to come up from like a Charlton. They had the perfect situation there where they didn't go for it. Someone like that who's been a good player, who's up and coming, done really well at his job in the lower leagues. Now it's wants
to take a step up.
Yeah. Neil Harris, did he really do a good job with Millwall?
No, he got sacked, didn't he?
Not really. Lee Boy had not been sacked. He'd done well at Charlton. I'm sure there's two or three others out there like that. You just got.
I always thought Gareth Ainsworth would be a good shout for the ex-Cardiff City player. The fans love him.
Done very, very good at Wickham. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe he would be ready.
There's players out there, but the leather jackets, the long hair, put these managers on. Who knows?
Shouldn't, should it? They should, at the end of the day, it should be about who's the best man for the job. Tell you who else is good.
He seems to have a good rapport with his players. He gets, all his teams seem to work for each other. A real team that he's got there, and that's what you need.
Yeah, and there's managers out there. If you just look and have a little look around, like we've just named a couple off the top of our head. Another one.
If we're looking around now, look around. You know what? Let's go for that. Mick McCarthy's just left Cyprus. He's a good option.
Yeah,
where's that conversation come? Who's having that conversation? Who's brought Mick McCarthy's name up? He's just been bulleted from Cyprus, which is a pub league. What are we doing?
Yeah, 100%. Donna Perry, what about Frank Lampard?
Yeah, it's
a risk one.
Chelsea to Cardiff. It'd be great if you get him, but come on, that's be realistic. Come on.
Carl Robinson, Reece says, has built some great footballing sides with MK Dons. He's got Oxford playing good stuff. Would he want to make that sort of step up? Obviously, he's Welsh as well.
Well, I've actually played with Carl Robinson. I played with him early 2000. He's a centre forward, yeah. So I've actually know him. So yeah, he's done very well where he's been. It's the personage for that's the next step for him. Cardiff City is a massive club. He's gone from Milton Keynes to Oxford, to Cardiff City. That's a big, it's a stepping stone. But has he missed the boat because he was hot like every team that sat the manager. He was the favourite.
I think I meant, but I said he's Welsh. Just the other Carl Robinson in the English one.
Steve Cooper. They could have. Maybe could have got in from Swansea. No, that'd have been funny.
Interesting. Cowley brothers done a phenomenal job everywhere they've gone. If you look at who was it? I've forgotten the name now, but was it Huddersfield? I think it was. The Huddersfield looked like they were going down. They looked like they were going down. The Cowley brothers come in, kept them up, and did a phenomenal job. Sacked them. And the next manager come in, and they looked like they were relegation fodder again.
It's not hard if your job's recruiting managers. That's what you do day in, day out. You can just go through the leagues and see that the teams and the managers and the history and if that's your job, it's not really difficult. We're just doing it from the top of our heads. But if that's your job as Cardiff City to bring in the next manager,
they've got to do a better job, haven't they?
You're going to leave no stone unturned, but they've got the Cyprus and got Nick McCarthy.
When you say, every time you say it, I feel like another part of me dies.
It's just where he's got him. Like, Nick McCarthy's free. He's just been sacked in Cyprus. Let's go and get him.
The thing is, though, Rod, right? The thing is, though, Rod, right? I know for a fact, an absolute 100% bona fide fact, that they were already talking to Lee Bowyer when they brought in Neil Harris. They were talking to him. They had pretty much agreed money. And then I wouldn't want to say for 100%, but I did get told that Lee Bowyer found out that Neil Harris was the new Cardiff manager from Sky Sports News. It's mind-boggling, mate.
That's worrying. Because obviously no communication, or it's just
100%.
What, just playing with people.
Yeah, wouldn't want to go there if I was in.
And that goes through the, it's a small circle, the football circle.
Football managers and stuff. Yeah.
I'd stay away from this. What they did to me. Okay.
Well, if they go back to Lee Bowyer now, if I was Lee Bowyer, I'd tell him to get fucked.
Well, why would you leave Birmingham City? Cardiff City.
He's got ties there, haven't he? He used to play there and all that.
Exactly.
Matthew Angel says Big Sam. Now, a few people suggested this on Monday show. To me, mate, that's exactly the same issue, same problem, same type of football. I want to move away from these types of characters, and I want to look at these young managers, the Cowley brothers, Lee Johnson, Carl Robinson, all the other, these Michael Flynn from Newport, all these managers, Lampard, Kate Keane, whoever.
Bolton,
I want to move towards these guys.
The kid that went to Bolton is Ian Everett.
Yeah.
Doing really well. Was doing really well at Barrow, and then he's got Bolton.
Yeah, possibly. Hugh Nicholas on YouTube says if McCarthy loses his next 2 games, Alex Neil could be a shout. I think that could be quite an interesting shout.
Is that the Scottish bloke?
I think he was manager of Norwich before.
Yeah.
I think Mark Delaney's doing a phenomenal job with the Villa youngsters. He's ex-Cardiff, ex-Wales.
John Terry's looking for a job. He's supposed to be a fantastic coach. Why can't you just knock at John Terry's door?
And the thing is, I want these players, I want someone to come in and demand. And this is why when I initially said Bellamy, it wasn't necessarily about Bellamy to be the new manager. It was Bellamy, that type of character who's going to take no shit. But also, not just about like going in there and shouting at people. It's about like when we talked to Jay Bothroyd the other week, me and Kev, it was like they were talking about when Bellamy came into Cardiff, the demands that he put on other players to train hard and to look after their bodies. Jay Bothroyd said the reason he's still playing football now is because when Bellamy came in, he saw how Craig Bellamy looked after himself to prolong his career. Bellamy brought in his own personal coach who he would go off and train with away from the team, not to be like a big time Charlie or whatever you want to call it. It was to make sure that he was fit because his knees had gone. He wanted to make sure he was fit to play in the games, which he did. And Jay Bothroyd said, like, that changed my whole outlook on how I looked after my body, what I was eating, how I was training. And, Jay's still playing out in Japan now, loving life. But that was my point about the likes of Keane and Bellamy. It wasn't necessarily, get them. It was that type of character who expects high standards. And I don't believe that these dinosaurs, for lack of a better word, your Allardyces or your...
If you got rid of Mick McCarthy, say John
bring
Terry.
Tony Pulis. That's who I'd bring in.
Tony Pulis. You just name like 3 managers that are all the same.
Yeah,
Sam
that's the
Allardyce,
problem.
Tony Pulis. These are all the same.
All the same. I am my personal choice. If I could select, I don't know. If you could select any young manager, or if you had to pick someone who's not got a first team job at the moment, I'd probably go with someone like Mark Delaney, John Terry, someone who's
Mark
like
Robbins.
an assistant.
Mark
Mark Robbins,
Robbins
mate, doing a phenomenal job. He had a bad result in the week, but doing a great job. I also like the Luton Town manager. I thought he got a bit of a raw deal at Stoke. Forgotten his name.
Guy.
What's his name? Nathan something. Nathan Jones.
Nathan Jones, yeah.
He's Welsh as well. But I thought actually he got stitched up by the players at Stoke. A lot of players who were on like 40, 50 grand a week who just haven't done it in the championship.
That for a relatively inexperienced manager is a difficult situation to go in.
Of course it is.
That's where you need a Sam Allardyce or a Tony Pulis to go in and sort the situation out. You know, a young manager going into there, it's just overall by it all. And you know, we see he's a good manager. What he did at Luton and what he's doing at Luton now. So yeah, it was just the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time.
What do you think of this comment from Will? He says Bellamy is never going to be a manager. He's way too volatile a personality to manage people, let alone pampered footballers.
Well, let me tell you, I was a volatile person, and I was a manager, and you can't be that way. You just can't in a football. That's why I give up playing football, because I couldn't manage and play at the same time. If I'm playing and a person is not doing what I expect them to do, then the words that come out of my mouth shouldn't really come out of a manager's mouth. So that's why I stopped playing football and managing, so went to and just carried on managing. Really, I should have carried on playing. But I knew I couldn't do both, because if I was going to have a teammate, the way I talked to people, the way I was playing, it was totally different the way I talked to people as a manager. So you'd expect him to, you know, I think that the kids thing, when he was at the academy thing, I think, you know, he might come off as a bully, but you know, I bet he was.
He also changed.
Near,
he also changed Cardiff Academy.
Nowhere near bullying, mate. He was just probably a bit aggressive and a bit too much for these kids that they've not seen. You know, it goes on all over the place in football. People get, you know, the abuse you get. You know, if you haven't got thick skin or you're not, but these days you can't really do that. So you'd expect him to know that, and you know, he's speaking to grown men, professionals, not kids. So you know, and he's not the biggest of characters. You know, one of them could just So I don't think that would happen. I think he's smart enough and clever enough. You know, you've just been talking about that he had his own coach and he looked after himself. So you know, if he wants to keep a job and be a good manager, he can't be. Them days are over. You know, hair dryer treatment. Yes, you can.
I have heard he's chilled out a lot. And he's supposed to be an exceptional coach.
Because you do with age, I have. So you'd expect him.
Yeah, we all have, don't we?
But you still have that respect. He was a top player, and respect, and you just have to see him work and see how he gets on. But that'd be a big job for him to come in Cardiff City with the team they've got, the squad they've got. But
here's a question for you, though, mate. Right, I'm going to name 5 managers potentially who could take over from McCarthy. And what I want to know is why this type of manager hasn't already been considered in the last 3 appointments. So we'll go with 2 like a sort of assistants at the moment. So John Terry, Mark Delaney. Then you've got Craig Bellamy is the same, Carl Robertson, Nathan Jones, and Gareth Ainsworth. So there's 6 names there. And then I'll also add in the Cowley brothers, right? So that's 8 managers of different levels of experience. But
the reason why I'm going with John Terry is he wants to manage. He's had his coaching, done all his assistant manager, his coaching. The guy's a winner, and he's got fixed stuff to prove. But the guy's a winner, and you know he knows football. And by all accounts, he's a very good coach as well. So why would you not? You've seen Frank Lampard go to Derby and do relatively well. You've seen Steven Gerrard go to Rangers, do really well. You know, these winning type players, mentality, you know, I'm pretty sure they take that into the coaching as well and managing. John Terry was, you know, he was a winner.
So I'd be interested in our Cardiff heavy chat. Out of all those 8 names who I just named, who would you like out of those 8 names to take over if Mick McCarthy was to go? Don asks Rhodri, what position did you use to play for Salford?
Midfield or centre forward, I could play either. I'd always be pissed off when they wouldn't put me centre forward because you don't do as much running. But as a academy player, as a YTS, I was a right winger, right midfield. Sure. And as I got older, I got centre forward.
Yeah. How did you find managing? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's good. I enjoy it. I'm going to get back into it. Well, I've started to get back into it. So yeah, it was a good experience. Probably a bit too early because, like I say, I gave up playing to do it, and then obviously when I left there, I went back playing for FC United. So, but I was I broke my foot.
With FC United, was that like because of who they are?
I signed for FC United in 2006. I signed for him because my friend took over. He was the manager. He asked me to sign for him the first year, but I was like 3 or 4 leagues above with a good team, and we actually won that league that year. So I'm glad I didn't. And then after one league, they got promoted. So there was like I still would have been like 3 or 4 leagues above them, but because they got promoted, I just went there. But it was like I was on like 250 quid a week, and then when I went to FC United, I was on like 50 quid or 40 quid a week. So, but it was playing in front of 5,000, 6,000 people at Gig Lane at Berry's ground. So, apart from when I was playing at Mosley, it was like 200, 300 pound. I mean, 200 and 300 people there. But even though I was getting good money, it was just not. It was a much better experience. And then I left, and then went back in 2013 or 2014, and then we stayed there for a year, and then took over and run the academy for 2 years when they moved into the new ground that first couple of years.
I got you. So yeah, you're looking to get back into like that managerial side of things, coaching side of things.
Yeah, you just been updating my badges as well. So
badges.
It's just something that I know. If you give me a 16, 18-year-olds I can work with, you could improve them. I'm confident at doing that. It's just getting the opportunity to do it, but they're out there.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Right. Are you all right for 5 minutes and we'll do some predictions for the weekend?
Good. Sweet.
Cool. Just loads of people. I'm just having a look at some of what the people are saying. A lot of comments saying the Cardiff have got no money, no budget, and the owners and directors. So who would want to come in and take over? And there is a bit of an aspect to that. I think Carl Robinson, Reece says there, Carl Robinson, he knows League 1 and 2. He's used to working on a budget, plays good football, and he's a cheap option for him.
Yeah, that would be my second choice.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think John Terry.
For all the reasons you just said, he's experienced in that league. If they do go down, but I'm pretty sure he can handle the league he's in as well. But he's a good coach, and he's not working on a massive budget.
And Reece answered my question where I said, why haven't any of those people been hired? And he said, because they're all under 70. Fucking hell. Jesus. It's only funny because it's true, which is startling in itself. Right. We'll go with the Premier League this weekend. Manchester United versus Everton. What you got?
United 3-1.
I will go with 2-1 United.
Now these aren't necessarily what I put on my Super Six. Yeah.
This is me versus you in it, which I think I haven't gone back and checked. I've got a note of them all, but I think you're annihilating me from the first couple of weeks. But we'll see. It's plenty of time for me to make.
It's expected though, when it's like, come on.
Yeah, well, come on. I'm just the host, innit? You're the football man, and I'm just the host. And just every now and again, I show you up with 15 points of predictions.
I'm sure you will. Like the saying goes, the sun shines on the dog's ass every once in a while.
Yeah, a broken clock and all that, innit? Burnley, Norwich, mate.
Burnley, Norwich.
It's a tough one, that is.
Yeah. 2-1 Burnley.
I'm gonna go with the 1-0 Burnley on that one. I think I'm gonna go Yeah, 1-0 Burnley.
I think
Chelsea.
Burnley scored 2 early on, but Burnley
Tough in it, that one.
Struggle last 30 minutes, tiring out. So yeah, I think Norwich will get a consolation goal later on.
Norwich got to come good at some point just to get a couple of points. They'll have
They
a
don't seem to have learned from their mistakes last time they were here, so that's the problem they've got.
No, they do not. Chelsea, Southampton, mate. Champions League this week.
I really fancy a Southampton here, but I'm going to go 1-0 Chelsea.
1-0 Chelsea. I'm going to go 2-2. I like Southampton this weekend, but obviously Chelsea
had
had
against Manchester City, but yeah.
Chelsea had the Champions League defeat as well, so I think they'll be quite up for it, but they've got the travelling and all that. So I'm going to say 2-2. Then you got Leeds versus Watford. Interested in the people in the chat. Let us know your predictions.
Leeds versus
Watford. I think that could be a high scorer myself.
At Ellen Road. 4-2 Leeds.
I'm going to go 3-3. Fancy a high scoring draw. What did you say? 4-2 Leeds.
4-2 Leeds.
Wolverhampton versus Newcastle United.
I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle.
Oof, an away win. I'm going to go 3-1 to Wolves.
Hopefully, Jimenez now he gets he gets a couple more and a few more, and then he can move on from that head injury because it was a bad injury. And scoring last week, it might have
helped him a bit, mate, didn't it?
Yeah.
Brighton, 2 form teams, Brighton and Arsenal at Brighton.
2-1 Brighton.
Oh, that's a shout, mate. That is. Arsenal being on the resurgence. Brighton have been very
doing
good.
Well, at home.
I think it's a hard one to call, that is. See, I'm tempted for a 2-1 Brighton as well. Really tempted. I don't want to go for the same, though. I'm going to go 1-1. Safe bet. And then Sunday, Palace, Leicester.
1-1.
No, I'm going to go 2-1 Palace. 2-1 Leicester. 1-1. You fancy that?
No, I'm going to go 2-2. Put 2-2 down. 2-2.
2-2. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 to Leicester. I've been very impressed with both sides, though. And then you got Spurs. Harry Kane will score eventually versus Villa. Spurs Villa, mate. What you got?
Sorry, Spurs Villa.
Harry Kane's got to turn up at some point, haven't he?
Spurs Villa. I like Villa though. Villa
they looked good on the weekend, didn't they?
Yeah. This is a difficult one.
I'm going to go 1-0 Villa. Me.
3-3.
3-3. Harry Kane hat trick.
No. The way he's playing, no.
That's interesting. So GD Parry says Harry Kane and Sean Morrison, 2 players who just don't want to be where they are.
Okay.
It's a shout. It's a shout, isn't it? Okay. West Ham versus Brentford, London derby.
Ooh, this is a tricky one, this one. West Ham versus Brentford. Because it's at West Ham, I'm going to go 3-2 West Ham.
3-2
the Irons. 3-2 the Irons.
Brentford, mate, been so impressive.
Yeah, at home,
it's a hard one,
at home, I'll be with you, mate. But West Ham have been also impressive. Antonio back.
I'm going to go 2-2. Even though
I thought you had the Brentford win there.
I was going Brentford 2-1, and then I just changed it at the last minute.
And
it talks me out of it. Liverpool versus Manchester City. Super Sunday, 4:30.
Now, through my experience, this is either going to be 0-0 or 1-1. Which one do I go for?
I think it's going to be a 2-all. I do a high scorer.
1-1. 1-1.
1-1. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool. I had to change
it's at Anfield as well, isn't it?
Yeah, 3-1 Liverpool for me.
So it's a difficult game. Very difficult because, through my experience as well, you can't, for the first 20 minutes at Anfield, you just got to be in the game. Just be in the game. Just quiet the crowd down and then gradually get into it. But yeah, if City get through the first 25, 30 minutes, then
they could beat anyone, can't they, on their day, mate? On their day. We'll go for a quick Cardiff City prediction as well. Cardiff City are playing Reading at home. Who would you have?
Reading are doing all right, aren't they?
Yeah, they won the other day again.
Reading, is it at Cardiff?
Yeah, it's at Cardiff.
1-0 Cardiff.
1-0 Cardiff. I can't go against Cardiff, but
well, you can go for a draw.
I'm going to have to because I can't go against Cardiff, but I'm pretty sure Reading are going to win. I'm going to go 1-0, but I'm not confident in that prediction whatsoever. And then I wanted to discuss with you very quickly on, I think it was Tuesday, Fulham striker Mitrovic scored a goal against Swansea and did the Ayatollah. Obviously, he has no affiliation to Cardiff whatsoever, but for some reason he did it. Speculation is because the Swansea fans were giving him a lot of grief. So the speculation is that Harry Wilson, who was on loan at Cardiff last year, who now plays for Fulham, basically told him, if you want to get at him, that's the way to do it. So yeah, you done that. I thought that was interesting. But you think it's just a response, isn't it, to the fans giving him shit, and he knows the best way to wind him up is to do a Cardiff.
Obviously, they've obviously had a conversation about it. These things go on. There's nothing really much else you can do. So yeah,
no, they get fined, don't they? If they say anything, they get fined. If they stick their fingers up, they get fined.
Yeah.
So
message, they take the shirt off. So doing a simple gesture that's not going to get them booked, not getting them fined, but wind up a load of people with no teeth, then it's okay.
Spot on, mate. Absolutely. And Will Mellius just said he scored on 1927, which is the year Cardiff won the FA Cup, that's quite incredible. That is quite incredible. But hey, look, that was good. Another quality show, mate. I really enjoyed that again. And hour and 15, mate, absolutely flew by.
Yeah, it flew, didn't it?
Flew by.
I need to get the heaters. I don't know what's going on here. This heater's not coming on. It's freezing.
Freezing now, is it?
I'll have to figure it out.
I said to my missus today, earlier on, I said, might have to put a heater on, love. It's getting cold.
We played when was it yesterday? Played golf yesterday, and it was the first day. It was like, that wind was freezing, yeah. So Bobby App was out. Mitts were on.
That's it, mate. It's getting to winter now. Try to wrap up. No, look at all these Cardiff fans, very biased. Not one of them have gone for a Reading win, but they've just spent 40 minutes moaning about how rubbish Cardiff are, and they've all gone for a Cardiff win. Come on, people.
They all feel better now, though. They've had a good moan. They've let it out.
That's it.
Enjoy the rest of the week.
Spread the words. Tell your friends. Tell the people. We'll be back on Friday next week, 7:00. Join us. Enjoy your Friday evening tomorrow free. And what are you up to on the weekend, mate? Anything exciting?
I'm off to London tomorrow.
Nice.
I've got an event down there tomorrow night, so that's why I'll be doing it tonight. Because I'm not about tomorrow. I'm down the big smoke.
The big smoke. Excellent. Nice one, mate. Appreciate it, guys. Please spread the word. Download the audio version, which is out on the Sports Social a bit later or in the morning. But spread the word, most importantly. Got to keep growing and growing. But appreciate all the kind words flooding in. But until next week, we'll see you. I'll be back on Sunday for the fight show. We got boxer Lloyd Jermaine's joining us. He's definitely joining us this week. He was up in London for the boxing last week and he wasn't back in time. But that's okay. We had Ben Doty on to break down all the Anthony Joshua stuff. So another top guest. And I'll be back on Monday as well. But me and Rhodri will be back next Friday. Laters.
Giggs. Giggs. No. Rhodri.